Welcome. This is The Way to Go, the new series of textbooks created by the Ministry of Education through its Columbia Bilingue program to support the English teaching and learning processes of the 6th, 7th and 8th graders. The Way to Go is aligned with the basic learning rights and the suggested curriculum for English. It includes a variety of tasks and projects which aim to enhance the basic communicative skills and the 21st century skills in order to provide students with tools to face a globalized world. The Way to Go also includes printed and digital books, as well as digital additional resources designed to enrich the teaching and learning processes. This video will guide you through the structure of the course as a whole and will focus on special sections of the student's book, workbook, teacher's guides and pacing guides. Student's book. This book has been designed having in mind students from public schools in Columbia. The structure of the text is easy to follow, as shown below. The preliminary pages include the contents and the basic learning rights. The Contents section provides information on what to find in each unit of the modules. The language in The Way to Go is based on the National Standards for English and the Common European Framework of Reference. This means The Way to Go is aligned with both national and international standards. The methodological principles behind this series are task-based learning and project-based learning, both critical to the development of 21st century skills. Each Way to Go student's book is made up of 4 modules. Each module has a module presentation, 3 units followed by a review, projects, evaluation sections, and chants. The module presentation includes the following sections. The language functions refers to the purposes in which language is used to communicate. Here, students will learn how to communicate in different situations. The text types. This will help your students understand the purposes of different kinds of texts by locating information and constructing similar texts based on their distinct structure. Explore your knowledge, in which your students' prior knowledge is activated through questions and visual prompts. The project or task introduction promotes collaborative work and numbers the steps of the project or task in each unit. Special sections. Chant. This section uses music to reinforce vocabulary and grammar in a fun way. Review. This section is found at the end of each module and reviews the contents and language functions from the units in a dynamic way by presenting what students have learned through a variety of games. Task, project. Please remember that the key methodological principles underlying The Way to Go are task-based and project-based learning. This is why this section becomes relevant for your students' learning process. The tasks and projects are related to the general topic of the module. Throughout the module, students will carry out activities that contribute to the task or project at the end of the module. This process means that their learning will be relevant and motivating. The purpose of using tasks or projects is to allow learners to put their learning into action by working for an extended period of time investigating and responding to an authentic and engaging problem or challenge. Evaluation. This section evaluates the language skills, language functions, as well as the knowledge of the topics covered in each module. The last part of the book includes gap activities. This section aims at supporting your students' oral production skills through different stages and vocabulary support by stimulating authentic communication. Grammar chart, covering all the grammar points and examples from each unit. Vocabulary list, including all the vocabulary used in the word bank in every unit. Now, let's explore the structure of the units. In every unit, you will find 3 lessons. The objectives of the unit are listed at the top of the first page. These are expressed as can-do statements in line with the Common European Framework of Reference model. Lesson 1 is in context, which sets the topic background and presents new language through the 4 key language skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Lesson 2 is expanding knowledge, where students can practice the language they have learned, as well as go more deeply into the topic of the unit. Lesson 3 is preparing your task. In this section, your students will work on a task and continue to develop their language skills. The purpose of these tasks is to nourish the final module project. The last part of a unit is check your progress. The purpose of this section is to allow your students to self-assess and monitor their language development as part of a formative evaluation strategy. Some activities need to be done by pairs. The self-assessment boxes pick up the can-do statements from the objectives at the beginning of the unit, so students get a sense of achievement about what they can do with the language they have learnt in the unit. Key features. The way to go includes some features to help your students achieve their learning goals, become autonomous, and develop their 21st century skills. We encourage you to use them. Study tip. Helps learners develop the skills they need to enable them to study and learn efficiently. Word Bank provides your students with access to the key vocabulary of the unit and helps with instructional level vocabulary development, spelling and writing. Useful Expressions supports your students with their productive skills, especially speaking, since they will be using varied language functions. 21st Century Skills. This key feature helps you prepare your students for the increasingly complex life and work environments in the 21st century. These skills cover learning and innovation, digital literacy, abilities for work and life, and leadership. Workbook. For additional practice and reinforcement, teachers and students can now count on a workbook. This tool takes key grammar and vocabulary contents to be practiced either in class or at home. The workbook will allow students to have more time to be in contact with the language. The workbook in the Way to Go series is organised as follows. In every lesson, you will find different types of exercises to practice both the language and some of the skills covered in the equivalent lesson from the student's book, especially writing, reading, and use of English. At the end of every unit, you will find the Check Your Progress section, which contains a series of multiple choice questions to reinforce grammar and vocabulary, and a self-assessment chart, which lets students assess their performance in terms of language use and skills. After Unit 3, you will find the chant and additional practice exercises from the student's book, so you can set these for students to do outside class. After the 4 modules, there is a section for vocabulary activities to consolidate and reinforce lexical acquisition.
Todos por un nuevo país. Paz, equidad, educación.